This is former dentist Dr. Leonard Horowitz, creationist, conspiracy theorist, snake oil salesman, and one of the most ignorant people on the face of the planet. Presented here is the merest sampling of Horowitz's sickening and dangerous contempt for science. To debunk all he says will take several videos. I encourage all people capable of critical thought to view his videos and respond as they see fit. Do, however, be warned. Do not underestimate his paranoia, ignorance, and greed. One of Horowitz's fantasies is that the action of sound upon a body can lead to miraculous occurrences. In support of his claim, Horowitz reminds his audience of the following.
At the center of this cymatics, which is the science of sound on matter, the effects of sound frequency affecting matter, and if you don't think that this is effective, all you have to do is look at nuclear magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, in your practices in hospitals, #1 diagnostic technology that operates because of water and resonance, energy, frequency on water.
What Horowitz fails to mention is that MRI does not work on sound. An MRI works on principles identical to those used in a nuclear magnetic resonance instrument as follows. A sample, or in MRI, a patient, is positioned inside a very powerful magnetic field. Once in the field, the nuclei of certain elements align within the field in one of two ways. Either they are parallel, pointing in the same direction as the magnetic field, or anti-parallel, pointing in the opposite direction to the magnetic field. In order to point in the opposite direction to the magnetic field, the nuclei require slightly more energy, so the majority line up parallel. Increasing frequencies of radio waves are then transmitted into the sample/patient chamber. These radio waves give energy to the nuclei that allows them to flip to an anti-parallel alignment. This is detected, recorded, and in MRI, a computer pieces this information together to give an image. Only electromagnetic radiation is used, i.e. the radio waves. Sound is not and cannot be used in this technique. Now you may be thinking that Dr. Horowitz simply made a mistake. No, he didn't. On several occasions he fails to recognize that sound waves are not electromagnetic.
What is sound but electromagnetic frequencies? What's that? Simply mathematics.
As many of you will know, sound waves are waves of compression. They require a medium to travel through, such as air or the ground. Electromagnetic radiation does not require a medium, and is made of oscillating magnetic and electric fields. They are about as different as chalk and cheese. Dr. Horowitz goes on to present the following.
This is, again, Dr. Emoto's work, where you can see, you can take what looks like raw sewage. This is a sample of what chlorinated and fluorinated drinking water anywhere in the world looks like. Raw sewage under a microscope. And you pray over it. And because you're powerful co-creators who are capable of producing miragistorum, miracles.
I decided to investigate this. I obtained use of an optical microscope and tested this for myself. As you can see, a dead ant was placed on the slide to show the instrument was working. A drop of tap water was then dispensed from a washer bottle onto a slide and examined. Nothing other than the base plate can be seen. The water is transparent. No amount of pleading would convince the water to spontaneously freeze into a snowflake.
We were told, and I even taught students at Tufts University School of Dental Medicine and histology and genetics that DNA serves as a template for protein synthesis. That's 3%, count it, 1, 2, 3% of the whole function of DNA all of the world of science is focused on. And you know what they do? The Rockefeller industrialists that control genetics, along with George Soros and the Human Genome Project bandits, they claim and they have labeled, demonized the rest of the spiritual function. 93% of the function of DNA serves as an antenna to the Creator. They label that, quote, junk DNA. It's like God defecated all over your cells, take it to the dump. You know, we give all this credit to our parents for giving you the blue eyes or the blonde hair that you have, right? Well, you know what? Yeah, you could thank your parents. You know how much? About 3%. The primary function of DNA is to serve as a receiver and transmitter of light and sound signals. In fact, the entire world of genetic science has been completely manipulated into ignorance. The whole field is focused on 3% of the function of DNA.
Let us leave aside Horowitz's lack of evidence. Let us also leave aside the fact that he quotes a distorted percentage. We can even forego the question of how these light signals are meant to be received by the numerous cells that are deep inside the body and never see daylight. We can even leave the logical conclusion that if this were true, any life form with more DNA than we have, which are quite a few of them, would be spiritually superior to us. Let us instead sum this whole argument up in the following manner.
That's 3%, count it, 1, 2, 3% of the whole function. The rest of the spiritual function, 93% of the function of
I appreciate many of you will be laughing at this. However, this man is not funny in the slightest. Like Gorilla 199, he believes in the lizard people. Like Kent Hovind, he is a creationist. And like PCS, he is after people's money. Above all of this, however, he is advising people not to vaccinate themselves or their children. He endorses silver cure-all solutions. He promotes the idea that medicines are being used by a group of conspirators to commit genocide. And worst of all, people believe and trust this man.
It's like the song.
And if you tolerate this, then your children